This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, evening, or afternoon, night, wherever you are on this planet we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network Special Series, True Ghost Stories. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. This is our second episode through this Halloween season, and we're gonna go a little bit off kilter, but it's not. We don't only have to talk about ghosts, but this is something maybe a little bit unusual for most, and I would like to introduce you all this evening to. How do you pronounce your last name, Dana?
Knoetgen.
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 Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Knoetgen. Okay, cool,
Mhm.
cool.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Dana.
Thank
How
you.
you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
You were very welcome. When you emailed me about being on the show, it kind of, I'm like, what? Ooh, and I when you gave me the story about it, I was like, or a little bit of the story.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yes, this is not about the ghosts and stuff like that, and the spooky and stuff like that. But you know, it gave me that thought, because when I grew up, I watched E.T. I saw the movie E.T. I was really young when that movie came up.
Yeah.
And in that scene in the movie when they all go trick or treating, and E.T. goes trick or treating with them. I'm like, yes, this is an appropriate show, appropriate episode for this part of the season. Definitely. It doesn't have to be ghosts and goblins. It could be extraterrestrials and all kinds of stuff. So, but you have an intriguing story. I caught a little bit on your YouTube channel, and let's dive right into it and hear a little bit more about your experience and your time with the extraterrestrials. When did this start for you?
Well, it was back in around 1993, and I was pretty young then. I was about 22, 23 years old, and I had first moved out in my very first apartment all by myself. I was all like, I'm so big now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as being a female, I always slept with the phone next to my head, and back then you had to dial it. It was a corded phone. That's
I
scary enough
remember
in
those.
itself.
I do.
It's scary. Doo 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 doo.
Right.
But
Yeah.
um, so it was really for my safety, to keep myself safe as a young girl. And there was this night in the summertime that I heard the Siamese cat outside my window. I was in the apartment 3 stories high. I was on the 3rd floor, and there was just a straight brick wall on the outside. So there's nothing really fancy or anything for anyone to climb on or anything like that. But I started hearing the Siamese cat just going at it outside, and I'm like, okay, quiet down. I'm trying to sleep. I'm working a night job, so I was like, I need some sleep here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started hearing all these like fireworks outside my window, which was like inside the trash cans. In apartments, they have those great big trash cans
Yeah.
that they put all their trash in. Well, it sounded like someone had put a bunch of fireworks in there and it just went off like that. It's just like, oh my goodness, girl, what's going on? And when I remember opening my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, there was this face peeking in my window from the outside.
Yeah.
from the outside. It was like peeking in, just kind of like almost like this, like just barely kind of peeking in.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
And then I focused to the end of my bed, and at the end of my bed is like 3 feet tall. I've always had just a high bed, so it's a pretty high bed. And I look at the foot of my bed, and here we are with 3 faces looking at me. And then on the other side of my bed, opposite of my window,
Mm.
I have yet another face looking at me.
Huh.
And I glance even further, and in my closet, there's another face
Uh,
looking at me. So I had all these faces just staring at me. And these were the faces like you would see as like a great, kind of like the ET kind of face, kind of
yeah.
like that.
The big eye,
And
like the big eyes.
big eyes, yeah. I remember like the big eyes. The face kind of came into almost like a triangular kind of face coming
Yeah.
down. Um, I don't recall if there was mouths or too much on the face, but the eyes were just big. I just remember seeing the eyes. And I was like, crap. And all I can remember thinking is, call mom. Call mom. I need help. Call mom. And it's
Yeah.
like, really, she lives 30 minutes away from me. How in the world is she going to even help me out with this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in any shape or form, there is no way she was going to be able to help me out. So I'm laying there and I'm like, I got to move my hand to get to the phone. And I'm trying and I'm trying. I remember wiggling my fingers, trying to move my hand to reach my phone, and I could not move. I couldn't move except for my fingers and my eyes.
Hmm.
And it's just like these faces were just looking at me, and I knew nothing of what was going on.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I'm waking up the next morning. So what happened? I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, I did realize maybe a day or two later that my neighboring apartment, our living room windows were like right next to each other. So it's just like this beam that was in between our windows. It was like so close to each other. And I remember seeing like this, like almost looked like a bullet hole, almost kind of like, but it didn't go all the way through.
Hmm.
So the only thing I could think of is these 6 ETs were there protecting me from all of this gunshot around.
Hmm.
And that's the only thing I could think of. And I was like, I don't know what else to think with it. I mean, they
Yeah.
didn't allow me to move, so I wouldn't get in the way. You know, something was going on. And then years later, I move into my current home where I'm at right now. And I'm now married. I have a kid and all of this other stuff. And I'm laying in bed and I get this really weird feeling. And I open my eyes and I just have this feeling that there's something at the end of my bed. Again, tall bed.
Yeah.
And these guys were just like, I don't know if they were standing or if they were elevated, but again, I felt this presence at the end of my bed and I knew this presence was looking at me. They were watching me. And as soon as I noticed and realized that they were there, they were gone.
Uh,
And then a little bit later, again, I felt this presence in the middle of the night. I roused up, opened my eyes, and nothing was there, but I felt this presence that was looking this time at my husband. I was like,
huh.
weirdness,
Yeah.
weirdness. And then a time, a third time comes about. This is kind of weird. This might be a Halloween thing, but
Yeah.
I'm in the shower and my husband's about my height. So I felt again a presence, and I'm in the shower. And I turn around at what you would think my husband's eye height, right? To see it, my husband. No. I turn around and I look down to that same 3 foot
Huh.
or so height. But yet again, nothing was there.
Yeah.
And it was just gone when I turned around.
Huh.
And then so I said, okay, that's weird, that's weird. And shortly after that, in my bedroom, I was in there, and out of the corner of my eyes, I see this shadow.
Yeah.
So I go to turn around, and I see this shadow, probably about 8 feet tall,
Hmm.
and it had like a vampire vest or cloak thing. I don't know
Yeah.
what you would call that. The
Oh,
coat
kind of like
thing.
yeah, like a cape or something.
Cape. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Um, so it had one of those capes on, and when I turned around, you could see it kind of floating in the air, moving as it disappeared.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, I'm smudging.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I'm done. I'm smudging. So I went and I smudged, and I don't know what happened. I haven't seen the shadows since then. I haven't seen the ETs or felt them
That's a shame,
again.
especially for the
I
ETs.
know, cause I called them my angels, because I feel like they were always there for some reason.
Yeah.
And then when I did that, they were gone. I'm like, "Oh, no." Maybe it's a good thing, cause maybe I don't have anything bad in my house anymore, that they
Yeah.
don't need to be here to protect me.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
I know, so you kinda look at it 2 ways,
Yeah.
but they
Have
never hurt me.
yeah. Have you real during the I'm trying to think here how to phrase it. Have you noticed anything that might correspond to when they did visit? Not like the first one, you mentioned the bullet holes or something like that, or what represent bullet
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah,
Um,
what appeared to be, yeah.
yeah, what appeared to be bullet holes. Did you notice any other unusual things during the other appearances or other visitations that may appeared that they were protecting you from something else?
The only thing I could think of is that shadow that was in my bedroom.
Mm,
And maybe it was protecting me from that shadow, because when I did smudge, they both went away.
yeah.
They were both gone. And so I wonder if they were protecting us, my husband and I, from that shadow
Hmm,
that was here. I
yeah.
didn't see eyes on it. It wasn't like they had the red eyes or anything like that on the shadow, but I just saw the black shadow just kind of leaving, and the cape
Huh.
kind of floating in the wind.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you by any chance live next to anything geographically that might be related to the unusual? Like, for instance, like Skinwalker Ranch. People know that anything in and around the Uintah Basin of Utah is just really freaky weird. All kinds of
Right.
stuff happens in the Uintah Basin area.
Yeah.
Um, do you live close to anything, even military bases? I mean, feels like I lived next to a military base. You see some
Right.
really crazy stuff.
Right. Right.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
close to anything?
it, not really. I mean, the closest thing I could think of for that would be like a cemetery. We do have
Mm,
the Loveland Cemetery about maybe 2 miles from us.
yeah.
And that's a good size. So maybe there's something with that. We do live at the bottom, or just off of the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So I don't know if that we have something going on up there, which we do. I mean, I've seen maps and stuff of Sasquatch being up there
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff. But otherwise, there's no Air Force or anything on this side where I am. That's on the other side of the state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know the Rocky Mountains in general, um, even all the strange stuff that happens in the Sierra Nevadas. I mean, people disappear more times
Right.
than we want to give credit for,
Right.
in that area of the country, because it's so
Mhm,
remote. It's just it's
mhm.
nothing out there, but it's beautiful. I mean, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Um, Yeah, and being close to the mountains in general has got a lot of spiritual energy to it. Um, do you think there might be any relation to because I'm also thinking 'cause extraterrestrials are physical entities that are also spiritual entities,
Mhm,
and, when their body passes, they go to spirit too.
mhm.
Have you ever thought that
Exactly.
maybe you were visited by their spirits?
I think it was them present.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was them in present, especially the first time I saw them, they were definitely there. They were
yeah.
there. Um, as being in this house, I did feel their presence, but at that point, I know that they didn't want me to see me at that point for
Mm,
whatever reason.
yeah.
So they hid themselves from me so I wouldn't see them.
Hmm,
But I don't know why they had me see them back when I was younger. I don't know
yeah,
what that deal was, but maybe it's to open me up
yeah,
to being able to be where I'm at this point in my life
yeah.
to start that process, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. And is there anybody else in your family that has seen these entities or just yourself?
These guys, just me.
Hmm,
Just me.
yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they were, possibly the Ponte. I'm still trying to figure out exactly who they are, but, it sounds like they might be the Pontes. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've heard of them.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, they live in the Sandia Mountains in New Mexico.
Huh.
They live underneath, and there is a spot here in Colorado where they live too,
Oh, wow.
near where I
Hmm,
first saw them.
hmm,
So I wonder if it's that. And then I always wonder if they might be my starseed family
mm,
here to protect me too. So I don't know if that is something that is
yeah,
possible.
that's a possibility. Yeah, yeah.
Since they were so protective over me, they were just here protecting me like it was like, I don't know, it was like, I don't know how to say it. It's like if you had a pot of gold or something like that sitting here and your tribe knew somebody was coming to steal it,
Mm,
you make a surrounding around it so it doesn't get stolen, right?
yeah,
That's kinda how this kind of felt, like, it was like they're protecting me. It
yeah.
was like, that's how I feel with it. Just
Huh.
a protection, like they were there saving me from something so I wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah. Have Have now, what other, as far as the work that you do, not like a general full-time job, but, and podcasting, um, what do you do do you do spiritual work and other, different do you have any modalities that you work with in the metaphysical areas?
I I have seen and experienced several things now, and, my most recent was just in the last few, weeks since,
Mm,
like, the 4th of July-ish kind of, so it's kind of like the last few weeks, I started hearing knocking in my house,
mm,
and only when I get up in the morning for work, I've been hearing this knocking, and I'm thinking, okay, so weird, and I tried to get my husband to come out and hear it, and nothing.
Hmm.
And I finally working up like this nerve, to like talk to it, because I am
Yeah.
kind of working on my I'd like to be a medium, so I'm kind of working on those skills a little bit right now. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just do it. So this morning, just this morning, I got up, I heard the single knock again,
Huh.
and I'm like, well, hello, I heard you knocking, and it knocked one more time. And I'm like, "Hey, do you need some help with this? Do you need something from me?" And one more knock.
Hmm.
And then it was like, "Okay, now I know you're needing help." So I'm like, "Well, it's okay. We can get you over to the other side, Let's get you to going." So I was talking to it and everything, and every time I asked a question, it was one knock, just a single knock after I asked that question.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, go on over. The light is waiting for you. Your family's over there waiting. It's going to be okay. You can do this. You got this, just kind of encouraged it. And then I heard a knock, funny, from the outside of my house, another knock. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right, you made it. It was like a knock of thank you. I found my way now. It's okay. I made it.
Wow.
So, I've had things like that, and I've heard my name, I've heard, other words. I've heard one word of group,
Hmm.
Group, group, and you wouldn't believe the love that I heard in that word. It was the most beautiful word I have ever heard.
Wow.
Absolutely gorgeous. It was a word that you just wanna hug. It was just so powerful.
Huh.
What it means, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. Yet to be understood. Yeah.
Yet to be understood, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be here. It's gonna be here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
I've had several little stories. Um, let's see. I have another story of my a spirit helping me out with saving my life.
Mm.
I was driving one day, and I got to the stoplight on my way to work, and there's a gas station on the opposite corner, and the light was red, and I'm sitting there just waiting, listening to my music, blah, 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 blah. And I hear in my head, "You need gas." I'm like,
Eh.
No, I don't need gas. I'll get that after work." And the voice comes back and it says, "You need gas. You need to get gas." And I'm like, I've got plenty. I'll get it after work. I don't need it right now. I'll
Yeah.
get it later." "You need gas." I'm like, I'm fine. I have a half a tank of gas. I'm fine. I can get to work and back.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Next thing I know, my steering wheel was churning. My car was going into the turning lane. And I'm like, okay, we're getting gas. Okay.
Huh.
My car went on its own. And so I stopped and got gas. And this particular morning, it was sub-zeros out. It
Ooh.
was freezing outside.
Eh.
And so I stop and I get gas, and the gas is coming out so slow because of the coldness. It's just like clunk, clunk. I was like, oh, jeez. I'm like looking at my watch. I'm going to be late for work, man. Come on.
Yeah.
And I finally got my gas, and I took off and I went on to work. And when I got, the building was right here. And then there's like a little small creek right next to it. And then the road gun goes right here. But there's a street right here. And I was coming up this road like I normally did. And sure enough, by golly, there was an accident right there. And there was a stretcher that was being pulled out. I didn't see if there was somebody covered or what that deal was. But sure enough, there was an accident right there. I was 10 minutes late because I had to go another 10 minutes around my building, which I
Oh.
could see right there.
Yeah.
And um, so, yeah, that was very amazing. And yeah, it just wasn't my time.
Hmm.
Just wasn't
See,
my
yeah,
time.
when we'll get right back to that. We're gonna take a really quick break for one of our sponsors for our True Ghost Stories seasons.
Okay.
So we will be right back.
Greetings, doll lovers and horror fans. I am Master Dully, the Doll Master, inviting you to my house of dolls, where the dolls come alive and the horror begins.
All right, welcome back. That was a creepy commercial. It's always creepy. So yes, I hear a lot of stories about just, whether it's your intuition or you hear this voice in your head that you got to do this, you got to take a left instead of right, you got to do this instead of that. Yeah, and it's just, and then you go, okay, or sometimes you just, I don't know, it by nature, I don't know, you just do something that you normally don't do, and then you realize later, holy crap, if I wouldn't have stopped to get gas, that probably would have been me in that car that's went over the ravine, so on and so
Yep.
forth. Let's get back.
Yep.
Let's get back to that. Yeah. What was it that you said you were going to work? Yeah, you were heading to
Right.
work, correct? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, let's pick back up on what you saw and your experience immediately after what you saw.
Yeah. It was just, didn't really think much of it. And then it's like I'm telling the story everywhere. And then I finally get into all of this. And it's like, oh, wow. I was actually saved by spirit. They, my guides or somebody was there and protecting me. And to know that that was not my time, because we all have free will.
Yeah.
We all have a right to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and go straight. But this was something so intense that they took over. And that's the only time they can take over is when it's not my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was pretty strange. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it. You just kind of go with it, I guess. The car just started moving into the turning lane and steering wheel moves, and it's like your hands are moving it, but you're not moving it.
Yeah. It's like the power
You know,
steering just ended up going the other direction. I mean,
autopilot.
yeah. It's,
Yeah,
I mean, people are pretty familiar with what happens when you lose your power steering. It's like your car just kind of, if something happens to your wheel and it starts turning in one direction, it's hard to get that wheel back into where you need it to.
right.
Right.
But this was just as easy as everything. Is just like the car knew what to do also. It's like the whole process was just what it needed to be.
Wow.
You know, it just, I wasn't there. I was taken out of thought or whatever it was. I don't know how they did that, but they just used my body and moved it over. Maybe
Hmm.
even did like a what is that called? I just lost the name. Where they come in your body.
Oh yeah, yeah. A walk-in.
No, not quite a walk-in. I just lost it. Yeah, well, they take over, like a medium
Yeah, yeah,
or so.
yeah,
So they come into your body and they talk through you.
yeah, yeah,
See, I can't even think I.
yeah.
Ugh. But anyways, it was almost like that, where they just came in, took over my body, and says, "No, you are going to get gas." And
Hmm.
once the car turned into the turning lane, it's like, okay, I'm getting gas.
Hmm.
So
Oh.
yeah, but I didn't really believe in all of this at that point. It wasn't that I didn't believe. I just never experienced it, even though I
Yeah,
had the
yeah,
ETs prior to that.
yeah.
So yeah, it was
Huh.
just like new to me,
Hmm.
but it was really cool.
Have you have you talked with other people or gotten, and here comes the word group again. Um
See, maybe there it
there it is.
is.
Have you are there groups out there of people? Well, there are online. I mean, you can see them all over Facebook and stuff like that. ET groups, CE5. Have you joined any CE5 or attended any CE5 type gatherings to?
I would
Um,
like to. I would like to. I'd like to find somewhere up in my area,
mm,
because I have seen going to work at like before sunrise. I'm
yeah,
going to work and I saw like lights about 10 miles to the north of me. The flashing lights, one, two, three, four, five, just like a bright light in the sky.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if that was a ship or something that was going through.
Huh.
But yeah, I turned that one in actually. I think I turned that one in to CE5, to
Mm.
the Newfonds,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Move on. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I did a MUFON. I submitted a MUFON report a little over, I think about a little over a year ago. A ship flew over my house, and
Nice.
it it seemed pretty low. I mean, it was probably something that you could probably hit with a. No, maybe not. It was probably a couple 100 feet. But you're like, what? Huh, what? Um, it
Yeah.
didn't have
You're on
lights.
my
It
show.
was, yeah. It was like phasing in and out of visual perception. Didn't have lights, but the reason I could see it was because of the light that was reflecting off of it from, like the
Oh,
street
wow.
lights and stuff like that.
So
And it
that
was
was very
yeah,
low.
yeah, and it was like phasing in and out of seemed like it was almost like it was cloaked or coming in out almost like it was um phasing in and out of its cloaking type ability or something like that. But the light from the ground lights and street lights and stuff like that from the neighborhood may have been reflecting off of it. And it made no noise whatsoever. And it was just flying slow. Oh, and it was up nighttime. So, um, yeah, and a weird flight pattern too. It's like, and then it just disappeared. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Well,
Yeah,
there is a story for my podcast, so we'll get you on
there
my
you go.
podcast. Yeah, right. We're
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, yeah. And then I
Yeah.
asked the MUFON guy. I was like, hey, are there any other reports that are similar to this? He's like, kind of, kind of. He's like, this is unique. I mean, it's unique. Because normally people just see lights and shapes and like more solid type things. And
Mhm.
whatnot. But as far as its flight pattern, very unusual of what I saw. So I told him, I was like, I don't live close to any military bases. I mean, I live in the Central Florida area. I mean, there's a base in South Florida and there's a base in North Florida. And when there's exercises going on, you'll definitely know about it because they're just going from either north to south or south to north. But that's during the day, not at nighttime. That we know of.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're out there all the time. They're out there during the day, during the night. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So you don't know. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that one. But yeah, it's really pretty cool that they could. Oh, they may have been going in. I'm learning the 5D. I'm transitioning right now into the 5D realm, which is
Yeah.
I'm so excited. But what I'm thinking that could be they were going in and out of those dimensions
Yeah.
when you were seeing it, So you saw it when they were here and then disappeared and in
Yeah.
and out.
Yeah. Yeah. Going in and out of the parallel realities that are actually happening simultaneously in the same
Right.
timeline. And it's like, yeah, that
Right.
makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your experience, has there been any other people that have been reaching out to you since you have a podcast, and you have a YouTube channel? Have people reached out to you telling you about some of their stories and if there's any similarities? Anybody out there may have experienced the same thing?
Not necessarily contacting me for it. No, it's me contacting them for all of that.
Yeah.
And getting in touch for the podcast, but nothing like, "Hey, whoa, I've gotten this story," kinda like what I've done with you, and so, yeah, and bring them on. If you guys do have stories, anybody out there, let me know. We'll get you
Yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah,
because it's all about your
we
stories.
can we'll definitely put your information in the show description. So those who are watching or listening and stuff like that, definitely watch or listen because this will also
Yeah,
be on the audio
subscribe.
podcast. So yeah, go to our channel and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Light
Yeah.
Talk with Dana right there. Light
Yes,
Talk
there
with
you go.
Dana.
Light Talk with Dana
423.
423 at gmail.com. Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, you check it out. And, I've got a lot of little stories I'm trying to get out there on like Wednesdays and trying to just give my little stories, bits and pieces of it. So
Yeah.
you hear
Yeah.
a lot of mine.
Now
Yeah.
does this kind of relates to one of the earlier questions, but
Sure.
sort of. Um, do you see a lot of this activity picking up? Do you see it getting more frequent, or do you see that it's kind of calming down a little bit and it's not as prevalent or as common as it used to be?
I think it's picking up. People are more willing to talk about it now.
Hmm.
Um, from what I've seen, they're very, very quiet at first, and when I start telling my stuff, I'm pretty open about it. "Hey, check this out. Guess what's going on? Blah, blah, blah." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, I had this experience happen to me one time."
Yeah.
And so it kind of brings it out in other people when I tell my stories. But I think they're opening up. Still a little shy, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's received now. It's not just completely pushed out. Most people are receiving it, saying, "Yeah, okay, I'll listen to it, but maybe."
Yeah.
You know? And the maybe's okay because they're on the fence.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when they're on the fence, they can start hearing this stuff and start understanding what's going on and how things work and everything. They're going to fall to the one side.
Hmm. Yeah. And with today's environment of all this stuff that's been going on that's now been hitting mainstream media, I mean, you've got the Tic Tacs that, that were caught by the military and stuff like that, and chasing this vehicle, around, and it's like, whoa, okay, yeah, and they're saying, yep, that's not us. I think that was pretty much the start of it, and then now all this other information, like at the last Super Bowl, there was a commercial that was on that had, and I think I brought this up on a show, one of our past regular programs. It was shortly after the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. But there was a commercial about a UFO, like, coming down in, like, New York City or something like that. I forget what the
Wasn't that
commercial was
like a
all about.
Taco Bell commercial?
I think it
I
may have been.
want
I think it was.
I want to say it was Taco Bell that they came down to eat the food of Earth or something
Yeah,
weird like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, I don't know if that commercial was just making a mockery of it, or if, because there was some subliminal information in that commercial. There was something in there that was like subliminal, going almost as though like the government and the mainstream media is going, "Yep, we admit, okay, they're real. We've been visited, and I've always been visited, and they've always lived here, and so on and so forth."
They've been here way before humans have.
Oh yeah,
They've
yeah,
been here
yeah.
forever.
A long,
Yeah. A long time.
long, 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 long time. Yeah, it
Yeah.
when it comes to the human race, the of our genetic makeup here on this planet, we're just a blink of an eye of compared to their lifespan and their race being, and many other races being here on this planet. It's yeah, we're just a blink of an eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And part of the reason of everybody seeing things now and coming open and the government coming open and everything is because the contract ended.
Mhm.
There was a contract. Have you heard about that?
I've heard something, yeah, that there was a timeline that many races, they call it the Federation, that the Federation of
Galactic
planet,
Federation.
yeah, the Galactic Federation and the collection of the Federation of other planets and stuff, that there was this deadline where, we're not even a Class 1 planet, not even close to a Class 1 planet, which is sad, but,
Mhm.
it's
So we're
gotten to
working
that
on it.
point. We're
It's
working on
getting
it.
there.
We're working on
Getting
it.
there.
But there's this, there was a deadline, and I'm not sure if we're past it or we're almost to it, but I think it's to the point we're almost to it, that they have to get the psyche of the human race familiar with the fact that, yes, we are not the only planets with life on it in our solar system. And which is interesting too, because why else would the Vatican be so involved with all of this scientific search and science with space? And they own all the telescopes. It's like, all their funding goes to all these telescopes and stuff like that. It's like they're
But we're
so
all
they're so focused
it's
on space.
yeah. And it's all we're all as one.
Hmm.
I was talking about this today at work, it's like we're all as one. Is the Bible talks about Mary speaking to spirit,
Mm.
you know, and that happened back in the Bible years or pre-Bible,
Yeah, yeah,
and the Bible says that it's still happening today. We are still able to speak to God today. And that's why we pray, right? We
yeah,
pray so that we can speak to God. And the only difference is with us, Earth moving into the 5D realm, which I hear that we have another 15 or so years and we're going to be hitting 5D.
yeah.
If everyone keeps going. So, with being like that, we are able to communicate with the spirits and everything just on a more regular basis. It's praying, but in more one-on-one communication.
Yeah.
It's not just like saying words on our knees, hands together and whatnots in prayer and speaking to God alone. We're speaking with source and all of its being.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah.
is prayer.
And what's cool too is a lot of the original scriptures, whether from the Gnostics to even like the book, the lost books, and not really the
Yeah.
lost. We never lost those books, like the Book of Enoch, and they're
Hmm.
not lost. They were just removed and hidden.
Right.
But
Right.
there's all those original books. The God was plural. It was gods. That there were many gods, and it just goes to think that when we look at the whole alien aspect of it, the Anunnaki, which is more of multiple races of beings that came to Earth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Right.
But they were all in the plural. And when our Gnostic Gospels, the Book of Enoch, and all those original texts, God was in the plural form. And some of them were androgynous. There was no male or female to them.
Right.
So yeah, we
Yeah.
could do another show on this.
I have this explanation of how we are all as one.
Mhm.
We are all part of God. And how I explain that is you think of, let's say I'm here, not to put me on a pedestal or anything, but I'm here and I sneeze. When I sneeze, all those particles of me that's within me come out, right?
Mhm.
When you sneeze. So that's all we are. That's all Earth is. That's all space is all that comes out in the sneeze. It's part of
Yeah.
that.
It's debris.
It's part of. It's the breath,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all one. So we are all one.
Yeah.
Whether it is this computer we're on or this chair we're on or you being you and me being me, we're all one and we're all just energy.
Mhm.
It's all energy. We're not necessarily really here. It's just
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. It's all energy. It
It's
just
all energy.
energy just taking part in the universal dance of opposites and
Right.
push and pull of electrons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when you go to think about all that, it's just mind-boggling because I'm just starting to understand part of this stuff. I'm not anywhere near understanding it, but this is all my understandings. But it's
Mhm.
just we're just all one, and it's just amazing how energy works, and that even the energies of God sneezing per se
Yeah. Yeah.
is everything. I mean, it's all universes, it's all beings, it's all, all
Mhm.
or nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know?
I just heard the
So
other day. What was it? Yeah, was it not the other day or the other week or whatnot? Who cares? It was just recently. I heard NASA, or it may not have been NASA. I think it was another contractor worked with NASA, and they released officially unofficial, so to speak, that they found another planet. They found another Earth-like planet outside of our solar system, our general solar system.
mhm,
And it's within of what they call a Goldilocks zone, that it has a binary star system, and it's very similar to Earth. And they're like, okay,
yeah.
but
That's
it's
because New Earth is growing.
yeah,
So there's another Earth that needs to start from the beginning. It's like
mhm,
having a child, I think. It's you're always going to have a new Earth somewhere,
yeah, yeah,
somewhere.
and it could be a new one, new as far as like the timeline, so to speak, or it
Hmm.
could be an old Earth its timeline, and as far as the species of
Hmm.
the humanoid species that are on it might be further advanced than we are.
Or they could be lower. It
Yeah,
could be where, yeah, it could be where the 3D people are going,
yeah.
or to start
Or
afresh, to relearn,
or
or
when or on our timeline, on our current timeline, say 100 years from now, we actually are out there in space, and that's the planet that we visit, and the entire timeline kind of recycles itself. Is we are the Anunnaki of that planet.
yeah, we are the ETs. We are there, and they're going to say, "Oh," to
Yeah.
us then.
But and then
And it's
according
so
to the rules of the Federation too, is you can't interfere. It's like you're
no,
not supposed to know that if
no,
you're gonna visit, you're not supposed to interfere with any relation of that species, which was the
right.
fault of some of the Anunnaki that came down here originally, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago, is they interfered. And some of these gods, Enlil, Enki, Enlil, and Enlil, yeah. But a few of them kind of like they just decided to do their own thing, and they're like, "Oh, we are gonna take the Earth. We are going to multiply with the Earth women." And I'm like, "Okay, hold on a second." And
Mhm.
then the other gods were like, "Whoa, okay, no, you're not, no." And then they ended up banishing them from
Yeah,
service. So
yeah, yeah. The only way they can interfere, from my understandings, is if that is not to happen, such as my driving story, that I had the free choice to go straight or stop and get gas.
mm, yeah,
But since it wasn't my time, they interfered. That's the only time they can interfere.
yeah, yeah.
But otherwise, they cannot give you any way of running, doing your life. Everything is free choice on us.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you wanted to visit this other new Earth or other Earth, you can. You can. You can do meditations and
Hmm.
travel there. I mean, you
Yeah.
can go. You can.
Astral projection. And
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
you
done
can
that a
go
few times.
wherever you want.
That's really cool stuff.
I've done it
Really cool.
once,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
really cool.
I
Yeah.
did it a few times and it's like, I kind of, I don't know. A little rusty. I got to get back into it. Certain states of meditation, I got into it. Whoa. And I'm like, all right. So something I got to tap
Yeah.
back into again. And then, yeah.
Yeah. Someday when I get
Or
time.
even remote viewing. Even remote viewing's kinda cool too. It's just kinda just and then kind of just go and then just do a remote view of a particular place in the
Right.
galaxy or the solar system and
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I traveled, I went into space,
Nice.
which was really flippin' cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was no fear, no nothing, but I was out there in the middle of space. I couldn't see Earth. I couldn't see any planets. I couldn't see nothing.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like laying there with my hands in my head in my hands, just laying there, knees up, just like a little kid watching TV.
Yeah.
And it was just gorgeous. I saw nothing but black and stars twinkling in the far distance. It
Yeah.
was just beautiful.
Wow. You know what
Silence,
you know what's interesting?
beautiful.
I've talked to a lot of biologists and anthropologists and a lot of people that I just very familiar with the science of the human body. And when they told me, they're like, when you look at the human body, not in general, but when you look at what it takes to keep the human body alive
Mhm.
naturally, food, water, air, general stuff. I mean, the simplest things. The Earth technically can't support it. We are barely making it by, and it's always been like this. I mean, when we go to the very basic values, there's very little stuff here on the planet that's really, truly what the body in and of itself truly needs to sustain itself. Other than just water and food, but even some of the most of the food and stuff like that is very foreign to the human body and the digestive system,
Yeah.
which then tells us even the sun. I mean, the sunlight, how damaging it is, how much of the Earth is damaging to the body. That when scientists have been looking at how the body reacts in space, and in
Mhm.
zero gravity, um, that it shows and it peeks its nasty little head out there going, the body, or yeah, the human body is foreign to this planet. And it's been a very, 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 very slow evolutionary process in order for our body right now, as we see it, within the last several thousand years, it's slowly evolved, and it hasn't evolved fast enough. So
Well, now we have all this food that's generated with material,
yeah,
chemically or
yeah,
whatever, and
poison.
GMO. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And look how many people eat it.
Ugh,
We all eat it. I
yeah.
mean, how many? Yeah, to some degree, we all eat it.
Some of the stuff, like the restaurant food in general, I can't even eat it anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
I've been kind of living off of a clean diet for a while now. And I barely drink any alcohol. And if I go to a restaurant, I'm very hesitant on eating anything because I can now taste the chemicals in just about everything.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
When you start giving up certain things, give up processed foods, give up processed sugars, give up all kinds of stuff that the body shouldn't have. You're you can now you can detect it. You can detect the foreign things that you shouldn't be eating.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I'm not there yet on anything like that, but I feel like I'm transitioning that pretty decently right now. I feel changes going on,
mm, yeah,
and
yeah,
I feel like things are gonna really start kicking in. Hopefully, pretty soon.
yeah,
Like starting to see or hear knocking in my house.
yeah,
I think that's a pretty good sign that I'm starting to open up enough to bring bring them in.
yeah, yeah,
Hopefully
start
to
to
help them not to have anything attached to me. Trying to
yeah,
be safe with all that. So
yeah, starting a dialogue, starting a mutual relationship with whatever type of work that they're trying to,
hmm
well, what they're either doing, or they might have a mission for you. Don't know what that is, but
right,
eventually they're slowly bringing into that process. So
right,
yeah,
right.
I just saw again for the first time in a long time, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It was like a couple weekends ago. I'm like, I'm gonna watch that movie again. And sure enough, every time I see it, which ain't that often, but every time I see it, there's something different about that movie that I catch. It's not the same movie every time I watch it.
And it's not the same movie.
Yeah, true.
It's a whole new it's a new you every time you see it
Yeah,
because you've
yeah.
evolved, you have changed.
Mm.
And uh, weirdly enough, I think I'm understanding this. That the things actually change too. So when you look there's a name for it. When you go back and remember how
Oh,
Taco
yeah.
Bell, let's say.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Mandela effect.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that could be what's going on here is
Yeah.
it's changed with you, so you are seeing something new each time you see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's deep stuff, but it's
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's really wild. The Mandela effect
It's
and its principles are like, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything in this is just it blows my mind, and I just can't get enough hearing of it, That's why I
And
started the
that's
podcast.
an example that we're
It's
shifting timelines. We're
yes.
shifting into
Mhm.
another dimension because what we remember in childhood never happened in this timeline is a prime example of there are parallel timelines.
Well, there is no timeline.
True. Yeah,
In
as I relate
energy
time.
world
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, in energy world, there is no timeline. We're all living the same life
Mhm.
at the same moment.
Yeah. We're just shifting. We're shifting in and out of it's phasing. You're phasing into yeah, different parallel
Yeah.
type, realities and dimensions and stuff like that. So,
An example of that is I have this hat that I had, and it has just disappeared.
yeah.
I have
Wow.
no idea where this hat went to, but it has disappeared. It's been gone for about a year now.
Yeah.
I have no idea where it went. And what I'm understanding what may have happened is that I had the hat, I transitioned in 4D, sat it down somewhere, and then ended up back in 3D.
Yeah, it's still
It's
there. It's just you can't perceive it anymore.
right.
Yeah.
Just like so I mean all of this is just like this great big old spider web. I mean, this I just so many different directions to go and so much
Yeah.
to learn, and it's also stinking fascinating.
Right? Yep.
It just blows my mind. I just love it. I love talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the quantum universe and how yeah, it's quantum operation, quantum mechanics. Yeah, it just very fascinating stuff. Mind twisters.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Very
yeah.
hard to wrap your head around, but yet when you get a gist of it, it's just
Mhm.
like, "Oh, bring in more.
Yeah.
I need more. Give me more."
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Dana,
kinda how I Oh, go ahead.
thank you for sharing your story with us tonight, and definitely, yeah, we could touch on so many different topics, and I'd like you to come back on the show, on the seance, our regular programming and stuff like that, and talk about some of the other subjects and stuff like that, especially maybe doing something on you can pick the topic though. Pick the topic. We can kind of, get talk about the Mandela effect. I do have an episode that was recorded almost well over a year ago about the Mandela effect, and had a um, um, had the guest on that knew quite a bit about it, and I put up some visuals on it and stuff like that. It was kind of cool just to give some visuals of because some people are like, what the heck is that? And it's like when you show it, people are like, whoa, that's wild. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, it is pretty messed up, but
Yeah.
it's like I say, it's just mind-blowing, but yet so powerful and so intriguing. It's addictive.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
very addictive.
Yes.
Once you get a taste of it, it's like,
But this is and
bring it on.
these subjects are things that trigger the mind. It helps evolve the mind. This is something that's going to be basic information in the future, in the near future. This is going to be common knowledge, and I'm sure other civilizations in the in the galaxy and stuff like that. This is common knowledge. This is
Oh,
kind of
it
like
is.
this is like kind of basic math and basic arithmetic on quantum operation of something. of anything in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Mandela,
We are pretty. We're
very, yeah.
pretty much as a elementary school
Oh
is where
yeah,
we are,
yeah.
where Earth is. I
We're
mean,
still crawling.
we're still crawling. Yeah. We haven't even started to begun to
Yeah,
learn or yeah,
yeah.
we're just babies.
Which is why I think now the extraterrestrials, the other races and stuff like that are now starting to come out and starting to reveal themselves and are kind of going, hey, we're here to kind of give you a little bit of a, well, they've always given us jump starts. They've always jump started stuff, which is why we have the
Yeah,
technology we have today. But
right.
a lot of the technology has been hidden from us, which is why we're actually 100 years behind where we should be when it comes to the technology.
And it's partly the free will thing too.
Mhm.
My understandings is like with Tesla.
Yeah.
He had us flying back in the 70s, just like the Jetsons, the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He had us flying, but the government or somebody wouldn't allow him to produce that
Yeah. Yeah.
technology.
Yeah, they stopped it. They
Yeah,
stopped that
knocked
stuff.
him right down.
How
Yeah.
close are you to the original Wardenclyffe Tower out in Colorado?
I'm not familiar with that.
That's one of his
I'm not.
experiments is that definitely look it up. It's very intriguing.
Oh,
The Wardenclyffe Tower, which is he was trying to develop free energy, free electricity, and he would harness it from the atmosphere. Unfortunately, what was weird is you would have to have all these towers, though. You'd have to have all these towers everywhere. But it looked like a giant Tesla coil. And
mm,
but that's what the experiment was he was trying to pull this energy from the atmosphere. Because I mean, the Earth is one giant electromagnet. So you're just tapping into that and using the Earth as a generator, and the atmosphere in and of itself is either the anode and cathode of that circuit, and you're now generating electricity and dispersing it, a free energy, and then they shut it down. Doom.
yeah, yeah.
But
Well, greed takes all.
yep, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So much out there.
Very. There's a lot. There's a lot. Um. So, yeah. Before we get into other subjects other than ghosts and aliens, I'd rather pick up another time on the other cool stuff.
Sounds
So,
great. Sounds
but
great.
but yeah. Um. So where can people find you again?
Yeah, you can go on YouTube and you can find my channel on Light Talk with Dana, and it's Light with Dana, and email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com.
Cool.
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter.
Awesome. Awesome. Dana,
Oh,
thank you very
yeah.
much for your
Oh,
presence with
thank
us
you.
tonight. And if it wasn't spooky enough for everybody out there, who cares? Because guess what? It's all it's all a journey. It's
It's all
all a
a journey.
journey,
And
and
it's a
there
fantastic,
is no destination,
no,
and we're on a spaceship. That's why I say that during the intro
yes.
of every show that I have. Is people don't some people catch it, some people don't catch it. I either say good day, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be on this beautiful spaceship we call Earth. That's
Mhm.
what we are. We are in a spaceship and we are time travelers.
Yep.
So
And that's a whole nother story too. I
ah
won't start.
yes.
I won't start.
Yep. Uh, Dana, my friend,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Thank you for taking some time out and being on True Ghost Stories with us.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoy telling my stories and hearing and learning more stuff all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's
And
fantastic.
yeah, keep me posted. And yeah. get on your show and talk about some cool stuff.
Yeah. Get a
Definitely.
hold of me. Text me or something like that, and we'll get together.
Will do. Will do.
All right.
Cool,
Excellent.
cool. You have yourself a
right.
wonderful evening, and thank you, everybody, for watching Conscious Radio Network's True Ghost Stories. And until next time, keep it spooky.